All right. How do I speak to management about changing course? So I'm going to read a couple of comments and then let's have a conversation here. So during the podcast that we did last week with Eric Kimberling, Andrew Oswald asked the question, if you've already started doing digitalization projects, but now realize you took the wrongish approach, how do you broach that topic with leaders to correct course without losing faith in you? And John McKeon responded to that and he said, strategy, not a project. So agile approach gives the win. Okay. And I'm going to expand on that here in a second. Rodolfo in the Discord server said, I'm trying to convince upper management OPC-UA shouldn't be used or that we should be using MQTT instead. That's why I was asking about articles. Am I wrong with this approach? Okay. And Cheryl's response was, this is a two-part question, how to speak to upper management and when to use OPC-UA versus when to use MQTT. The latter isn't an either or question. Look to our YouTube channel for several videos. Dave Schultz and Kevin Jones yesterday talked many times about in Mastermind, one of the things we teach is leadership. It's not just strategy and architecture. It's how to have these difficult conversations. And we talk a lot about transformative and disruptive leadership. Okay. So how do you talk to leadership about changing course? Okay. And I'm going to give the answer in two ways. Okay. One, when talking to leadership about changing course is going to directly reflect upon me because I'm the one who chose the original course. Okay. And the second is, what about talking to management about changing course when I'm not tied to the original direction? Okay. There is a famous apocryphal story. Okay. Which is, and I don't remember which president told this story, but it's basically, when President A was on his last day in the White House, he sat down and he wrote two letters. And when he was shaking hands with the new president, he said, I left two letters for you in the desk there. When you run into your first crisis, I want you to open the first letter. Okay. And then when you run into your second crisis, I want you to open the second one. So year passes or whatever, he runs into his first major crisis. The new president sits down, he opens the letter and he says, blame everything on your predecessor. Okay. So he goes out, gives a speech. He blames it on the previous president and then goes about his business, buys him some time. And a year later, he has his second crisis and he goes back to his desk. He opens up the second letter and it says, sit down and write two letters. Okay. There's truth in that statement. Okay. Here's the answer. How do you talk to leadership? The answer is you don't until you have a solution to show them. Okay. Do not fight theoretical battles, win the results war. If you want to demonstrate why you should use MQTT over OPC-UA for your leadership, then you show them why you should use MQTT over OPC-UA. Okay. One of the reasons there are thousands of people in the world who want to, think about all the people who've taken pot shots at me over the years. Walker's a blowhard, blah, 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 blah. I can't remember the guy on LinkedIn a couple of years ago. That really, really super gifted developer, super
Derek
smart guy. Derek Stickle, right? Super gifted guy, but he obviously didn't like me very much.
Fell off the map too. I haven't seen him in
he probably cracked is probably what happened, but super gifted guy. I looked at a bunch of his work and he's super gifted, but he used to take shots at me all the time. But he was never willing to debate because all of the proposals for us to debate were centered around me demonstrating why I'm right, not me arguing why I'm right, but me demonstrating. So number one, when you have to talk to leadership, you need to build a proof of concept. If you look behind Dave Schultz, his desk in his office, he has, and I have one back here too. I have a demo board where I build all of my solutions. So if I want to make the argument for why we should use MQTT in this application over OPC-UA, and here are the three reasons why: it's edge driven, it's lightweight, it's open architecture. All I do is build a commensurate example on the board. I take 12 hours, I build it, and then I take that to management and I show them. Okay. You don't fight theoretical battles with management. Okay. Number two, When you go and talk to management, what you have to do is talk to them about two things: why this choice benefits the organization and why this choice benefits them personally. Okay. The higher you move up the food chain, the more focused you are individually on yourself. Okay. So you need to not always talk about optimal technology from a moral perspective. It's the moral thing to do, or it's the optimal thing to do. What you need to do is talk about it from the perspective of it's the practical thing to do. Okay. So you could talk about theoretical, optimal, but you also want to talk about practical. Okay. You want to point out the importance of practicality. And here's the last point. You need a mentor who talks to leadership a lot, who can show you how to talk to leadership. I would say that one of the biggest advantages that the people who work around me have, and I had this advantage with my mentors, is they showed me how to debate ideas and demonstrate value with leaders. Okay. The higher you move up the food chain, the more results oriented people become. There's this girl I follow on Twitter. Her name is Anna. She's a machine learning data scientist. And she tweeted this thing earlier today. It's just ironic that this happened. She said, to succeed at work is more relevant. It's more relevant to have empathy and good communication with your teammates than having extremely good technical skills. Soft skills matter a lot. Okay. So I can tell you lots of things about Anna, not the least of which is Anna is not an executive and she is not in upper management. Okay. Here's why. Executives and upper management people don't think that way. So I quoted that tweet and I said, soft skills matter, but they should rarely be prioritized over results. The most successful people in all professions have the highest standards and the most disagreeable personalities. Soft skills are a tool used to manipulate those who prioritize feelings over results. Now, I recognize that's controversial. People might not like that. If you're going to go talk to leadership, you need to focus on results. And the best way to focus on results is to demonstrate.